A sprawling storm threatens to deliver a triple whammy of heavy snow and strong winds combined with bitterly cold temperatures to much of the U.S. on Wednesday, lasting through the end of a busy travel week. Winter weather alerts are in effect for more than 70 million people from Washington state to Maryland. The heaviest snow is expected to fall across the Cascades and into northern Idaho, northwest Montana, and western Wyoming, where more than a foot is forecast, the Weather Service said. For many other areas in the northern part of the country, even if less snow falls, it is expected to be light and fluffy, and when it is blown around by 30 to 50 miles per hour winds, it could make travel dangerous for the next 2 to 3 days. Along with the wind, brutally low temperatures have prompted wind chill alerts stretching from the Gulf of Mexico to the U.S.-Canada border and from the Pacific Northwest to the southeast. Wind chill, which indicates how the wind feels, could be as low as 50 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit below zero, according to the Weather Service. Wind chills of this magnitude can cause frostbite in less than 5 minutes if precautions are not taken, with hypothermia also possible from prolonged exposure to the cold, the Weather Service cautioned Tuesday. Throughout Wednesday, the storm system will move through Montana, Idaho, and Oregon by the morning. It will begin affecting cities including Minneapolis, Omaha, Denver, and Salt Lake City by the early afternoon and continue through the evening. With such a large and powerful storm system impacting a majority of the nation during one of the busiest travel weeks of the year, it is imperative that travelers check the latest forecast before venturing out, the Weather Service advised. In response to the colossal storm, governors of several states across the country have taken some steps to prepare. Colorado Governor Jared Polis activated more than 100 National Guard members to support extreme cold weather operations across the state, according to a news release. Colorado is about to face extreme weather and cold temperatures, and the Guard is ready to assist local communities to help keep people safe during this extreme cold weather snap, Polis said. North Carolina declared a state of emergency Tuesday to help with the transport of fuel and critical supplies as well as assist first responders and protect consumers from price gouging, the governor's office said in a statement. West Virginia is declared a state of preparedness, according to the governor. Missouri has also activated the state's Emergency Operations Plan, which frees National Guard resources to respond to the storm impact if needed. A developing bomb cyclone. So far, snow has fallen mainly across parts of northern and central Montana, northern and central Idaho, eastern Oregon, western North Dakota, central South Dakota, and western Colorado. The storm, which is expected to develop into a bomb cyclone, is expected to strengthen quickly as temperatures drop drastically low across most of the U.S. by the end of the week. For a storm to be defined as a bomb cyclone, it must drop 24 millibars in 24 hours. The storms are more typically seen with winter nor'easters. But in this week's case, the bomb cyclone is expected to occur in the plains, where there is an extreme temperature difference between the warm and moist air ahead of the storm and the Arctic air mass moving in from Canada behind it. The storm is expected to reach the pressure equivalent of a Category 2 hurricane as it reaches the Great Lakes, with the Weather Service describing the strength of the low, once-in-a-generation, event. This is a case in which snow totals may not tell the whole story. Even small snow amounts, when combined with very strong wind gusts and plummeting temperatures, can cause poor visibility and slick spots on roads. The sudden arrival of these conditions can increase the danger, the Weather Service explained. Additionally, strong winds may knock out power lines from the Midwest to the Northeast, especially in areas where heavy snow fell last week and is already weighing down tree branches.
Video gamers sue Microsoft in U.S. court to stop Activision takeover. The private lawsuit also seeks an order blocking Microsoft from acquiring Activision. It was filed on behalf of 10 video game players in California, New Mexico, and New Jersey. The proposed acquisition would give Microsoft far outsized market power in the video game industry, the complaint alleged, with the ability to foreclose rivals, limit output, reduce consumer choice, raise prices, and further inhibit competition. A Microsoft representative on Tuesday defended the deal, saying in a statement that it will expand competition and create more opportunities for gamers and game developers. After the FTC sued, Microsoft President Brad Smith said, "We have complete confidence in our case and welcome the opportunity to present our case in court." In a statement, plaintiff's attorney Joseph Savary in San Francisco said, "As the video game industry continues to grow and evolve, it's critical that we protect the market from monopolistic mergers that will harm consumers in the long run." Private plaintiffs can pursue antitrust claims in U.S. court, even while a related U.S. agency case is pending. The takeover, announced in January, also faces antitrust scrutiny in the European Union. The FTC previously said it sued to stop Microsoft from gaining control over a leading independent game studio. The agency said the merger would harm competition among rival gaming platforms from Nintendo Co. Ltd. and Sony Group Corp.
IRS failed to conduct timely mandatory audits of Trump's taxes while president. A report by the Democratic majority on the House Ways and Means Committee indicated the Trump administration may have disregarded an IRS requirement dating to 1977 that mandates audits of a president's tax filings. The IRS only began to audit Trump's 2016 tax filings on the 3rd of April 2019, more than 2 years into his presidency and months after Democrats took the House. That date coincides with Richard Neal, the panel chairman, asking the IRS for information related to Trump's tax returns. There was no suggestion Trump, who has announced a third presidential run, sought to directly influence the IRS or discourage it from reviewing his tax information. But the report found that the audit process was dormant, at best. The vote was the culmination of a years-long fight between Trump and Democrats, from the campaign trail to Congress and the Supreme Court. Democrats on the Ways and Means Committee argued that transparency and the rule of law were at stake. Republicans said the release would set a dangerous precedent. "This is about the presidency, not the president," Neal told reporters. Kevin Brady, the panel's top Republican, said, "Over our objections and opposition, Democrats have unleashed a dangerous new political weapon that overturns decades of privacy protections. The era of political targeting, and of Congress's enemies list, is back, and every American taxpayer, who may get on the wrong side of the majority in Congress is now at risk." Trump spent much of Tuesday releasing statements unrelated to his tax returns. The IRS did not immediately comment. An accompanying report released by the Nonpartisan Joint Committee on Taxation also found repeated faults with the IRS approach to auditing Trump and his companies. IRS agents did not bring in specialists to assess the complicated structure of Trump's holdings. They also determined limited examination was warranted because Trump hired an accounting firm they assumed would make sure Trump properly reports all income and deduction items correctly. "We must express disagreement with the decision not to engage any specialists when facing returns with a high degree of complexity," the tax committee said. "We also fail to understand why the fact that counsel and an accounting firm participated in tax preparation ensures the accuracy of the returns." The report's renewed scrutiny on one of the biggest questions that has surrounded Trump. Trump and those around him have consistently said IRS audits prevented him from doing so. "I would love to give them, but I'm not going to do it while I'm under audit," Trump said on the 10th of April 2019. Maggie Haberman of the New York Times has reported that Trump simply made up that excuse on his campaign plane in 2016. No laws would have barred Trump from releasing his returns if they were under audit. It remains unclear whether he was referring to the mandatory process specifically aimed at presidents or reviews typical for wealthy individuals. The Times found that before he entered the White House, Trump was facing an IRS audit potentially tied to a $72.9 million tax refund arising from $700 million in losses claimed in 2009. Documents released on Tuesday indicated that Trump continued to collect tax benefits from those losses through 2018. "What happened?" said Stephen Rosenthal, a senior fellow at the Urban Brookings Tax Policy Center. "If it was not resolved, the IRS stalled. If it was resolved in Trump's favor, then maybe the IRS rolled over and played dead. That's what we have to find out." The report raised red flags about Trump's filings, including carryover losses, deductions tied to conservation and charitable donations, and loans to his children that could be taxable gifts. The Ways and Means Committee is proposing legislation to beef up the IRS, requiring an initial report no later than 90 days from the filing of a president's tax returns. The House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, said the chamber would move swiftly on the legislation. Democrats argue the IRS is ill-equipped to audit high-income, complex tax returns, and instead targets filers in lower-income brackets. Because of the dismantling of funding to the IRS, they have not been unable to do their job, said Stephen Horsford, of Nevada. They did not have the specialized staff to do it for that high-income category, not just this person, but people who fall into that category. It has been a tough week for Trump. On Monday, the House January 6 committee voted to make a criminal referral to the Justice Department for his role in sparking the Capitol attack. He also faces an investigation in Atlanta for efforts to overturn election results. The Trump Organization was convicted earlier this month on tax fraud charges for helping executives dodge taxes on perks such as apartments and luxury cars. The Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, said last week his office's investigation into Trump and his businesses continues. "We're going to follow the facts and continue to do our job," Bragg said.